foul on Reese. Reese gets up right away.
Now, when I saw this live, I was literally screaming no. I was like, not again. I was speechless. They did call a flagrant one on Caitlin Clark. She essentially said it was either Angel gets a wide open layup or we send her to the free throw line. It was a basketball play.
Angel Reese just got suspended for her insane verbal assault on Caitlin Clark during their very first game. Like, seriously, was she holding a grudge since last season or just bored of being ignored?
Her jersey, she was saying stuff to Caitlin and kind of walking down the sideline. I thought that was too excessive.
She kept yelling the F word at Clark over and over again right there on the court, like she completely forgot where she was.
Nobody got hurt in the play. They called it a flagrant one. However, I don't believe it was a flagrant one. I think it was a hard, common foul.
And before anyone starts blaming Clark for grabbing her arm, calm down. That's literally just normal basketball defense, not a crime. And let me be honest, ever since Caitlin Clark stepped foot onto a WNBA court, she has been treated less like a basketball player and more like a high-scoring punching bag.
It's very different than some of the plays that we saw last season where the ball wasn't even in play and players were coming over and checking other players.
Apparently, dropping dimes and drilling logo threes is some kind of sin in this league, one that must be punished with bruises, elbows, and full contact defense.
Which is crazy. But if you guys remember the Kennedy Carter foul from last season where she came up and bodied Caitlin Clark and Caitlin Clark didn't even have the ball wasn't even inbounded yet. Like, that's not a basketball play.
From Kennedy Carter's cheap shot last season to Diamond DeShield's personal crash course in unsportsmanlike conduct, Clark has become a magnet for fouls that mysteriously don't exist in the rulebook. And yet, she doesn't whine. She just keeps playing.
That's not going for the basketball, that's going for the person.
But how many fouls does it take before we call it what it is? Targeted harassment dressed up as competition. The league has never seen anything like it. Not just her shooting range, but her tolerance for cheap shots. If mental toughness was a stat, she'd be leading that column too. Still, no amount of self-control could stop what happened in Game 1. And just like that, in the very first game of the season, Caitlin Clark gets handed the foul card. Not for getting hit, but for trying to play defense. It was a simple basketball moment. Angel Reese was driving for a wide-open layup.
If you guys didn't see, right before that play, Angel Reese had some contact with Natasha Howard. Caitlin Clark saw that contact. She turns to the refs and she's like gesturing to them. And this is all happening very, very quick, you guys.
Clark, recognizing the threat, did what any player is coached to do. She fouled to stop the easy 2 points. It's called a take foul. It's legal, it's common, and it's the oldest trick in the book.
She turns to the ref, she's gesturing to them because she believed that Angel Reese fouled Natasha Howard. Now from that, Angel Reese gets the ball. Caitlin Clark realizes she is about to go up for what seems like a wide open layup. Caitlin Clark runs over and fouls her hard and Angel Reese falls to the ground.
But the referees, perhaps feeling theatrical, decided that this basic strategy was instead a flagrant one. Why? They cited wind-up, impact, and follow-through, as if Clark morphed into a WWE wrestler mid-play. Meanwhile, Reese hits the ground like she was shoved off a balcony.
I was happy that Caitlin Clark just walked the other way. She really didn't want anything to do with it. It was just a basketball play. Now, what I didn't like that Angel Reese did is even after that play, she kind of kept going and it seemed like more and more people needed to hold her back. Like she was untucking her jersey. She was saying stuff to Caitlin and kind of walking down the sideline. I thought that was too excessive.
But the real foul came afterward, not on the court, but in how Angel Reese chose to react. Reese jumped up like a lit match had landed on her jersey. She charged at Clark, shouting, swearing, and needing to be physically restrained by her teammates. This wasn't competitive fire. This was unhinged.
Was a basketball play. And Caitlin also even said after the game, she was asked about it once again, and she said, guys, let's not make this bigger than it needs to be. And I am 1,000% with her on that.
While Reese let the fury fly, Clark didn't flinch. She turned and walked away. No drama, no protest, just class. It was a moment that should have spoken volumes. One player lost her cool. The other refused to give away her power. So naturally, the one who stayed calm got the technical. Welcome to WNBA Logic.
Do not make this a highlight that runs all of the time. Please do not use this in promos. We're going to hear it. I know next week everyone's going to be talking about it.
Meanwhile, Aaliyah Boston, who apparently committed the crime of stepping between two players, also got slapped with a technical.
They asked about this play, and then they asked Aaliyah, why did you get the technical also? And she's like, wait, I got a tech?
You got the flagrant. Aaliyah, you got a technical. What could have happened there?
If you got the tech?
I know. Wait, what?
I got the tech?
Oh,
First of all.
For what? Existing too confidently? Meanwhile, the player screaming obscenities and causing the entire scene? Just a verbal technical. No ejection, no consequence. If the roles were reversed, would Clark still be in the game? Or already in the locker room apologizing to the league? This wasn't just a moment of bad officiating. It was a case study in how narrative distorts reality. Because when it's Caitlin Clark doing the fouling, suddenly we're rewriting the rulebook.
I don't think that this is the hill to die on when saying, like, should it have been a common foul or should it have been a flagrant? Let's leave it there.
Suddenly a take foul becomes a scandal. Suddenly holding your composure becomes suspicious. And because it's Angel Reese on the receiving end, the internet mobilizes, not to question what happened, but to justify what they wanted to see. And what they wanted was outrage.
She said it was a basketball play, the refs called it, and let's move on. And kudos to her for that, for kind of stopping this narrative. Both of them kind of speaking out and being like, hey, let's not make this anything bigger than it needs to be.
And if you've ever doubted that social media could referee a game, just take a look at what happened after the foul. The moment Caitlin Clark made contact with Angel Reese, the Twitter jury clocked in.
Weekend 1 in the WNBA, Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky, and we get a play like that. If you guys were on my live, you saw.
Suddenly, every fan with a profile picture of their favorite player and a username ending in hoops_4life became a certified ref. The takes were hot and reckless. Clark doesn't even know what a take foul is. Take fouls only happen at half court. Basic basketball IQ evaporated in real time as the need to dunk on Caitlin overruled the urge to Google. But it's easier to hate a player than it is to learn the rules of the game they dominate. Poor people.
If somebody has a wide open layup and you have a foul to give, it is in your best interest to foul that shooter so that they don't get an easy 2 points.
Let's clear this up once and for all. Take fouls can happen anywhere on the floor. The NBA rulebook distinguishes transition take fouls from standard ones, but the core concept is simple. If you foul to stop a scoring opportunity, it's a take foul.
And what Caitlin said during an interview with Holly Rowe, she essentially said it was either Angel gets a wide open layup or we send her to the free throw line. It was a basketball play. There was nothing malicious behind it.
Clark did exactly that. No malice, no dirty hit, just strategic, smart defense. But once the clip hit social media, logic didn't stand a chance. The play was no longer about context. It was about whom you liked more and whom you already hated.
Went for the ball, she went across her body. Now Angel got tied up in it and she did fall down.
Facts became irrelevant. The second feelings became law. Angel Reese supporters came out swinging, not with analysis, but with insults disguised as basketball commentary. They rewrote the meaning of the foul, erased the replay evidence, and turned Clark into a villain for daring to play defense. Meanwhile, Caitlin's fans had receipts. Last season, Reese clocked Clark in the head and no one flinched. No foul, no flagrant, no outrage. The double standard wasn't subtle. It was screaming through every tweet. But the louder Clark fans pushed back, the louder they were drowned out by emotion over evidence. It's not about what happened, it's about who it happened to. And while Twitter was busy deciding who deserved to be dragged, Indiana was busy dragging Chicago straight out of the arena. The actual game? A bloodbath.
Manufactured rivalry, which, by the way, you guys, the Indiana Fever beat the Sky by nearly 40 points.
A 93-58 demolition job that no one seemed to care about because drama clicked better than domination.
Recorded a triple-double, 20 points, 10 assists, and 10 rebounds.
Wait, did she get the triple-double? Did we get it? You guys are saying that she got it. Did she get it? Oh, she got it! Let's go!
Caitlin Clark didn't just lead her team. She made WNBA history with a triple-double in her season opener. That's 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. Plus 4 blocks, because why not? And yet, all anyone talked about was the foul, not the fact that she outplayed an entire roster.
How well spaced this scoring is. And also, you guys, if you look at the final score, I predicted this before the season even started. I said that the Indiana Fever was going to lead the league in points scored per game.
Meanwhile, the player who didn't know basketball made it look effortless against professionals. Aaliyah Boston had the kind of game that should have shut her critics up for good. 19 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 soul-snatching blocks. She was everywhere, on the glass, in the paint, and in Chicago's nightmares.
And they are getting hands on the balls. They are rotating so much better. They had so many steals. Caitlin also, by the way, had 4 blocks. She had 4 blocks. Aaliyah Boston had 5 blocks. And I want to say this about Aaliyah Boston. She stepped up so much in the second half.
After a shaky preseason and media doubt, this was her redemption tour's opening act. Then there was DeWanna Bonner, casually dropping a quiet 7 points and, oh yeah, becoming the 3rd highest scorer in WNBA history. But that headline got buried somewhere under a mountain of, was that foul a hate crime? TikToks. Nothing exposes sports media priorities faster than watching greatness get ignored for gossip. Let's not forget Lexi Hull and Kelsey Mitchell, who rounded out Indiana's stat line like veterans in a playoff series.
And Sophie Cunningham, you guys, did not even play in this game. If you look at this scoring and how well spaced this scoring is, and also, you guys, if you look at the final score, I predicted this before the season even started.
Hull posted 9 points and 9 rebounds, while Mitchell added a clean 15. Everyone ate, everyone contributed. The Indiana Fever were locked in, explosive, and efficient.
The moves that they made, but seeing them in action.
Meanwhile, Chicago looked like they were still in preseason warm-ups. They shot 29% from the field, 22% from 3, and showed all the offensive rhythm of a middle school layup drill. Reese finished with 12 points, and Ariel Atkins chipped in 11, but the scoreboard told the truth. This wasn't a rivalry, it was an exposure. Which brings us to the looming elephant in the room. Should Angel Reese be suspended? Because if we're being honest, the question isn't whether she went too far, it's whether the league has the guts to admit it.
Unnecessary contact from Clark.
Yeah, I agree with you. And
We've seen players fined and benched for less than what Angel did post-whistle. She didn't just respond, she escalated. Her verbal abuse, body language, and continued aggression after being separated crossed every line the league says it wants to enforce. If this wasn't suspension-worthy, then what is? And if Caitlin Clark had done the same, we all know the punishment would have come before the press conference.
she goes in. There is a little bit extra there from Caitlin Clark in terms of the foul.
The on-court ruling of a personal foul on Caitlin Clark has been upgraded to a flagrant foul penalty 1.
The double standard is louder than the crowd. Caitlin Clark commits a strategic foul and gets a flagrant. She walks away and gets a technical. She doesn't even know she was punished until after the game.
In addition, there is a double technical on Boston and Reese, which offsets.
So there you go.
Angel Reese charges, shouts, has to be held back, and gets to finish the game like nothing happened. The fans see it, the players see it, and if the WNBA thinks it can ignore that imbalance, it's gambling with its own credibility. A league can't grow if its rules bend for whoever trends the hardest. Now the league is under pressure, not just from fans, but from its own identity crisis. Does it want to protect its rising stars, the ones actually performing? Or does it want to play PR games with players who bring attention for the wrong reasons? Suspending Reese wouldn't be about Clark. It wouldn't be about drama. It would be about standards. It would be about sending a message that conduct still matters, that composure still counts, and that the game is bigger than the tantrums around it. Because if nothing happens now, the message is clear. Throw a fit, avoid a fine, and trend your way to immunity.